Good afternoon, everyone. Hey guys, this is Bruce Marshall from Simpler Trading doing the nightly market update for Wednesday, April the 10th. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day, happy CPI day. As you can see on the screen here, I have the chart of the ES and the Nasdaq and the Russell too, but crazy day. We knew it was going to be like that. CPI is a big deal as far as inflation goes, and that is what the Fed is watching to determine, rate cut or not, and that is what has been driving the market for a long time now. So basically a little more cold water got thrown on the fire today by the CPI number coming in a little hot, and which means inflation is not coming down like the Fed was hoping, anticipating, thinking that it would. And if you listen to the video I did, the last one I did, we talked about this. This was actually a fairly likely outcome. There's no crystal ball here. The last two CPI numbers have come in hotter than expected, and I thought this one would come in line the same way. A little bit hotter than expected. I believe it was 3.5 versus 3.4, but nonetheless it was hotter, which is again not good from the Fed's standpoint, because they're trying to get inflation down into much lower ranges. So let's jump in and we'll look at the charts, and we'll talk about kind of what that means. If you look, I've got the Nasdaq here, I've got the Russell or the IWM here, and then this is the ES over here. Let's focus. I'm going to move this. These are the ticks and a multi-time frame indicator I have, but let's look at the ES here, and as you can see right there was when the CPI was released. The light gray area, these are the futures, so this is overnight action. This is the cash close yesterday, ding ding ding, closing bell right there, and then this is the overnight session here, and as you can see it was reported at 8:30. It's always reported before the open, and this is Eastern time, so reported 8:30, market opens at 9:30. So what we had was a big blip up, 52.85 all the way straight down to 51, basically 75. So that's 110 points, basically straight down. Pretty crazy move. That is that's a pretty decent sized move for for basically no time, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. And then again the market opens up down here, and we're trying some heavy lifting we got to do, right? We're trying. I had a lot of resistance. I wish I would have saved the charts, but I had a lot of resistance above us, and we failed and came back down, and then we just kind of went into this sideways chop the rest of the day, because right around here was when we had FOMC minutes from the last Fed meeting. This was CPI, so it's a big day today, right? And as you can see, not really much happened there with FOMC, and that to me has always been a little peculiar, that the FOMC can sometimes really move the market when it is just notes from a prior meeting that we already know what was said, right? But it is what it is. Sometimes the market picks it apart and finds a new nugget of something they latch onto, and then it can really make the market move. But here it really didn't. Now we were kind of swinging back and forth. That's a pretty good move, but ended up flat. And guess what tomorrow is? So we've got overnight session here. Tomorrow we got PPI, which different people feel different ways. I think CPI is probably a little more important to the Fed. A lot of people think PPI is. In either case, we have PPI in the morning, before the open, 8:30 in the morning, and again that can give us a big move one way or the other. Now again, I think that PPI is going to follow right in line. That CPI and PPI tend to trade together, or tend to track together. So I'm thinking kind of the same thing, that we'll come in with a little bit hotter PPI. Now the reason, and this is just my best guess, is that it comes in a little bit hotter. I think everyone, especially now, is anticipating it to be a little bit hotter, but it's also might be baked into this 100-point drop here that, guess what? We kind of know it's going to be a little bit hotter, right? So maybe it won't be that big a deal, and it could come in a tick or two, cooler. For CPI, PPI, we use hotter and cooler, not plus or minus, I suppose. But and if it comes in line or a little, a tick cooler than expected, whatever, we could see a move like that. We could retrace all this move, perhaps, I don't know, but it would be interesting to see. I hope that happens. And I'll show you why. So let's take this chart. Here's the ES, and let's go out to a 20-day chart, and you can see it has just been wild west, all over the place, right? Just up and down, up and down. And these are some pretty wild swings, straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down, etc. Big swings. We've actually been doing pretty well trading this because well, for a couple reasons. We're being so light and so nimble and so careful. Anything, I put it on, if it doesn't work, we cut it loose. And I'm trying to be really careful about limiting my risk as far as size goes, or max loss, that kind of thing. And we've been pretty fortunate. We've got good charting, and we use fib levels, and these are voodoo lines on the screen right here. So they've helped us out a lot. But the one thing that kind of makes me go, you see this pattern here? I hope it doesn't do that, and we start this kind of trend down. It's way too early to tell, but 1, 2, 3, 4 days, 1, 2, 3, 4 days. What happens tomorrow? It's just interesting. That's just an observation. That's nothing really too scientific about that. But it's I'm always watching patterns, watching levels, of course, things like that. So let's take this out onto a 1-year time frame. And as you can see, we've had this just massive 1,200 point move straight up, and it's compressing tighter. Now we are breaking it right here. The question is, does this turn into this, or is just a little consolidation here and we start, moving our way back up? And again, nobody knows. But I think what's probably more likely is that this little consolidation is like this little consolidation in the trend of we're going up, catch our breath, go up, catch our breath to continue back up here. That's the way that I think makes the most sense. You don't break a trend that's that strong that easily. So like say for example over here, so if this breaks down, are we going to do we're just going to follow like that? I doubt it. Just don't really see that happening. A lot of people want to get bearish. I want to get bearish. We make a lot of money on the short side, but and I don't really trust this market too much. But we're at a point where we have to make a decision, or we have to really be careful, because all this other stuff up here was pretty straightforward. We just buy the dip. All this has been just kind of buy the dip. Now, I don't know. Again, I don't like the way this is looking, but let's zoom in here. This is very orderly, right? There's nothing too crazy about this move. So basically this, in looking at this, it tells me that the market is basically holding together. It's not falling apart here. If it were to look like this, where you have red, tiny bounce, red, tiny bounce, and you're just taking these levels out one after another, and you just keep going lower, You get a little bounce and you just keep going lower, 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 lower. That's when it turns ugly. So far, we're not getting that. Again, I am certainly not saying, this is the most bullish market I've ever seen. Put all your money in. That's not it at all. But I'm saying it does not look like it's breaking down yet. We got to be careful. Let me show you this real quick. And I'm going to stick on the ES here for just a second. There's a 20-day. There's a 50-day. We could come down and test that. But so far, this thing has been very, very orderly. I'm going to keep playing it this way, again, with limited risk. Here's a 34 EMA. This is probably even better way to look at it. If we look at the 34, this is, again, we're right down into the 34 EMAs. That's nothing out of the ordinary here. So we keep playing it, leaning to the upside. I put a hedge on at 51.50, right under us. Put it on there about a week or two ago, I think. Not a big hedge. I'm not black swan, nothing like that. Just a little hedge on the downside. And I'll keep doing that. I'll kind of keep trailing up little hedges and limiting the risk on the downside and tight stops and things like that. But until we get a little bit deeper, a little bit further along, that's all we can do. Now we have PPI tomorrow. That'll be a pretty big thing for us for the market. Earnings season really kicks off with the financials on Friday, and then next week we get really in the earnings season. We got a Fed meeting on April 30th, May 1st. There is a 96% chance of no rate cut. So nothing's going to happen at that meeting. That means the can is going to be kicked down the road, down to probably the June meeting. And then we'll see. We'll have another CPI, we'll have another PPI, and we'll see, what we're going to get. If the market gets a whiff of any kind of dovish Fed or rate hike, we'll continue to go higher. If not, certainly we could pull back a little bit here, and it would be healthy. The healthiest thing for us to do is to pull back a little bit here, catch our breath again before running higher. So I hope that helps. Hope that makes sense. I'm trading the indexes. I'm trading a handful of names. We're coming into earnings season. We're looking and looking. Don't have anything that's just burning a hole in my pocket or my wallet to go put money into right now, but there are some decent names. But the first thing I want to do is make sure the market's going to hold up overall first before we start looking at the Metas and Netflix and the names that still look pretty good. So anyway, if I can help you, let me know. At Simpler Trading, and I'm in the main room. I'm in the bias room every day. Let me know if I can help. And as we get a little bit deeper into past more economic data and deeper into earnings season, we'll have a little more clarity here in the next couple of weeks. So with that, let me wind it up. Hope that helps. Hope it makes sense. Again, let me know if I can help, and I will see you guys at the next update. Thanks. Take care.
Without Simpler Trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency. It's one of the things that won me